Smile, everybody.
Greetings and welcome to Black Dollars Black Healing Session tonight with your host, Robin Lewis of RZL Tax Services. RZL Tax Services is a product of the Compo tax system, a very powerful black economic development system that kind of brought me to where I am. I've been involved in the Compo Tax RZL system for going on 14 years, and I'm here to ask questions of my family members, Afiya and Wekesa Magamoya, who I haven't seen in a while, don't see as often as I used to. But we're here to talk about, we're excited about them coming to Cincinnati this weekend to give us some healing and empowerment, and we're so excited we can't even wait for Friday to come. So I'm going to start my questions now unless someone has a comment or anybody else has a question.
Let's begin. Go
Okay,
ahead.
we're going to begin. Okay, my first question, and I have some big part questions, but my first question is, how do you feel that the WHB seminars help us to become more self-empowered and more community-minded? And what examples from other workshops can you share with us?
All right, Afia.
What examples from other workshops? Um, well, let me just say that I always say that when it comes to being community minded, business minded, organization minded, it does matter a lot with what's going on with us as individuals, and then what we can maybe guess or have some thoughts about that's going on with the other African person that we're working with. I always laugh and say we're not going to be any better person in business than we've been as an individual. So I'm thinking business, Robin. You know, like you, I do have a business where I offer a service, and part of what I know for me in business or just being conscious about uh, economics, economic development period, for me, the WHB tools have been so critical in me first being aware of my own woundedness. When I'm sitting across the table with somebody else that maybe I'm offering a service to, where are my wounds? How are they showing up from my generations back that have been passed down to me? And we can talk more about them. And then also what's showing up for the person in front of me. Like for instance, if that person has been taught to not trust me as a black proprietor, as a black person providing a service, well, that's for real, and it may come up as that person very often, as I think about it, gets scared about something that's going on. Maybe I'm late in doing what I'm doing. Maybe I don't appear to be interested. Maybe I don't respond, give him enough attention, et cetera, et cetera. The issue will come up. Does she know what she's even doing? Is she good enough to do what I need her to do? Is she smart enough? Can I trust her? Does she even mean me any good? All those things come to play. So in the WHB work, we're like upfront saying, let's go ahead and think about it from the beginning to know that it is going to come up. It constantly comes up, always comes up, because these wounds are always here, both in ourselves. On my side of the fence, it's like, I'm a black business. Black business already doesn't have the greatest name. Our people have bad experiences, so I got to do everything perfectly. So when I don't do it perfectly, one of my issues have been that I'll send myself into a tailspin because I'm supposed to do it perfectly because I got to show the person that black business is good. So there I'm spinning with my wounds. The client is possibly spinning with his or her wounds. So what's going to happen? Where that client, where maybe I give up in business and say I can't be perfect, so I'll just give up. Or maybe the client feels scared, then he says I can't trust you. I then say you should trust me. I maybe get mad, maybe I don't cuss him out, and maybe I just in my own way though I say you should be doing differently, and very often there's a bang, there's a bump, there's a hit, of some kind, even though it could be very academic or professional. And at any rate, we aren't working, together. We aren't working it together. We aren't supporting each other. We're not being the best we can both be as client or proprietor, because those wounds are there and we don't know how to address them. So I've gone around the bend a little bit uh, to say that, I've seen it over and over where by the tools that we teach in the Warrior Healer Builder model have saved me so many times. And we look forward to having people, us who are in business together, see how they can save us. Now, that's from a business perspective. We can think about it also from standpoint of organizations. We can think about it just from a standpoint of relationship to relationship, as we do try to work as community members to restore our community. And I'm going to stop. Wekesa says short answers. And he gave me a note on it too. Thank you, Wekesa. That's my long answer.
May I, Robin, if I can follow up what Afiya said, which was quite eloquent. Thank you, Afiya. Let me give you an example based on what she was saying. Very often we are scripted to um, one of the tools that we have is called Feelings as Messengers, and it's really designed to help us crack the code, and that is our consciousness is falsified, and we know about that. But our emotions are falsified. That is, my learned emotional responses have been falsified. And what that means is, if there's a situation and a client is fearful because I'm a black business, their grandmother said don't go to black businesses, they want to do it, they try it out, all right, and they substitute anger for their fear or their sadness because that's what the script has written. And this is a script written by our oppressor. So oppression is coded in our responses to literally break up communication. And while we've been looking in the cognitive area of what we say and how we say it, we've not been looking in the emotional area. And that is where the script, the code, the secret code is hidden that generates the script that would have this person then come to me when they may be scared and want some reassurance as a black business that I won't do what their grandmother said that I would do, as fail or mess over them. Instead of asking for that kind of reassurance and being aware that they're afraid, it may come off as if they're angry with me. Okay? Well, of course, then I'm going to have another kind of reaction to that. Instead of offering them reassurance, then I then make up a story in my head that they, disrespectful of me, they wouldn't do that to white business, blah, 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 and then the game is on. That's what we have. So the tool for that is called Feelings as Messengers, and that's how that tool can really help us navigate what Afiya was talking about, this client or customer and proprietor or professional relationship.
Okay, that was really good. It kind of brought back some memories that I have never actually participated in the full workshop, but the pieces that I have had, I've had many sessions, were really powerful and helpful. So one of the things that Afiya said that brought me to another question that I was going to ask in terms of the workshop is this issue of trust, because it is a major barrier for us in terms of working together and creating black economic empowerment. And also there's the trust issue that we have to work with, as you sort of addressed for me already. And also the issue wonder how the workshop addresses this issue we have of not really enjoying seeing each other successful. Um, so I thought that maybe there will be some tools from the workshop that will help us deal with those realities.
Afiya, you want to take it?
I'll start. Not seeing each other successful. Um, I want to say that, I think we're taught a lot that that is the truth, and I just want to say that I don't really like take it as truth or as like that's what's really going on, and maybe it's me. And I'm not saying that people haven't had experiences that would have them believe that other people wouldn't want to see them as successful. And I do think sometimes this whole feeling piece, like Wekesa has just described, is at play. I think the people are maybe feeling scared about some things, maybe that people will leave them or not see them in the same way sometimes, or maybe even sad about maybe some changes in relationships and so forth. I think that can be at play. And I do also think that there's that issue of like how, how might the relationship change, especially. And Guess has also put up this notion of SNI. It's one of our tools, standing for superior inferior line. There is that notion, there's that paradigm that operates very often with us, that we've gotten from Europeans, being taught very well and sometimes having it punished into us, I'll say, brutalized, to have us operate with it. This SNI line that says that folks on top side of the line are better, more valuable than folks on the bottom side of the line. So let's say in this society, from what we see, not what we believe, white people are superior to everybody else. Men are superior to women. Folks with degrees are superior to people who don't have degrees, etc. The owning people who own things better than folks who don't own things. So I think there's that scare among all of us that has to do with, if this person then gets on top of that line, how will they relate to me if I see myself on the bottom side of the line? And I think very often then we do look like, it does look like, I don't want folks to get to the top of the line, and I don't, if I'm thinking that they're gonna treat me in a certain kind of way. So again, I think because our feelings sometimes are jumbled up and not clear, and our communication becomes sometimes very ineffective. It does look like, the crabs in the barrel piece and all of that. And I just want to add that for me, since I've changed the way I look and my eyes in terms of how I can see what we do, I see a lot of examples of us really trying to push each other forward as well. I do want to put that out there. And I do think it's very critical that as we are looking at our wounds, that we learn how to see our stories a little bit different, based on the wounds, being clear that sometimes we see the stories because of the wounds. And if we are like programmed to see the crabs in the barrel piece, and that is what we'll see when there's a whole lot more to see. So that's the long answer again.
It's great.
That's a long answer.
Oh yeah, good answer. Well, that kind of takes me to a question that I hadn't written down. I wrote down some of my questions so I could be prepared. But one of the issues that I was wondering if the workshop would be addressing is that recognizing that there are a lot of people out here working, doing work for the community. But sometimes everybody has a different interest, or not necessarily interest, but a different angle that they see the work and a different result that they need to see. And I wonder if the workshop would help us to figure out a way to bring, you might be in this arena, I might be in this arena, you might be in this arena, you're in education, housing, so forth and so on. And how can we learn that it's okay for you to like what you like and you do what you do, and we work with what's in our heart, but how do we pull all that together? Like to say, sometimes people say, well, I don't want to work with her, she's dealing with such and such. You know what I mean? And so I was hoping that the workshop would help us address real ways that we can bring our own desires and dreams and what we want to see for the community together and make it a big bond. Because everybody is working, everybody has a different view, but sometimes if we don't agree with them, we don't feel like we can work together. And I want to know how this workshop addresses that.
Okay. So, Fia, may I take a good
Yes,
work there?
please.
Okay, great. One of the first things that the workshop will teach and talk about is that unity is not uniformity. One of the things that we believe many times is that we won't be successful unless we are unified, which is true, and we believe that unified means uniformity, and really are not prepared to deal with how is it that we are coordinated, that we're going in the same direction, even as we take different paths, okay, and work the problem in many different ways. We actually, because of our fear of how big the problem is, our perception of how big it is, which is it is big, that is oppression and our condition economically and health-wise and those kinds of ways. It's a big problem, and we often believe that we all have to be like right here doing this thing. And we actually don't appreciate that if we are doing, going in the same direction from the places that we have passion and we have experience and we have love and skill in, then it's helping moving us forward. And that's where sometimes my fear of how big the problem is really then gets in the way and has me one pieces for me to try to force unity, and that is uniformity. Now, another part of that is that if someone is going in another direction, we often don't have the communication skill set such that we can inquire about, in an appreciative way, that person's direction and what they're doing, and also hold that the way we're doing it also has value, so that we don't get into what Afiya referred to as that S&I line, that sense of if yours has value, mine doesn't. And one of the aspects of that, there's a part of our tool set this weekend is called 7 Steps to Recovery. Now, we won't go through all of them, but we will go through the one that's called self-to-self comparison versus self-to-other comparison. That is, we look at others for information and for inspiration. So if you are just doing very well with RZL Tax business and I'm not doing as well, then what I can see that you're doing much better than I'm doing. If I do self-to-other comparison, that S&I line comes in, and I will start seeing you doing well, and therefore I tell myself I'm doing well. Something is wrong with me. So either then I have to try to put you down or put myself down, and neither one of those are useful. What if I started to look at you and your success for information and inspiration, so that I would like, okay, Robin, like I saw that you started right here, but you're established and you're making money, or you're doing well and you're serving the community. Would you tell me how you did that? Because I'm trying and I don't know. Would you tell me how you did it? And we'll be surprised how many times people will tell us, if we are approaching them from a sense of both being inspired by them. Because I can say, if Robin did it, I want to do it too. All right, that's not I want Robin to fail. I want to do it also, and so we then can collaborate. And that's again the tool that comes from 7 Steps to Recovery, where it's self-to-self comparison. I'm comparing me to where I was yesterday. That's the only comparison I'm doing. When I'm looking at others, I'm seeing the difference for information and inspiration.
That was an excellent answer. Thank you so much for that. Um, this is tricky too. In my business, I've had the pleasure of being exposed to a very big variety of people. Um, and I've also been exposed to a ton of successful people. So, quote, quote, as we say, whatever you define that as. But in terms from a business perspective, but I find myself frustrated when I try to insert community movement, or, I know people are busy and they're doing their business, but I think, you're really doing well, and what's the skill you have to really help, if you took the time to use, and does the workshop offer us skills as to how we approach people who are not necessarily interested in being a part of the group and are not interested in the empowerment, I'm successful, let them get it, that kind of attitude. And the proper approach is what I'd like to see how you deal with that, to try to get people. And as an example, ever since you guys told me you were coming, I've been telling my clients, I've been still really busy. And so I do have a client who actually donated 4 scholarships for the
Well,
afternoon session.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Now, of course, they're too busy to come. I'm so important and I'm so busy, but they did, without me pushing, believe in the concept. But there's are people that I want to push, but I want to, just like everybody, learn the skills of not crossing the line, of trying to push. Some people, oh, Robin, you too black, and all this other nonsense that we hear. And so I kind of wanted to figure 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 out if the workshop would help not only me but others to approach that situation so that we can open the eyes of people who have not been exposed and who just don't have the concern and care or understanding that if we all don't make it, none of us are, kind of
mhm,
concept. But if you don't say it in the right way, then you lose a customer, or, and
right,
so
that's right.
that's what I'm
Well,
hoping workshop.
well, I'll give a short answer, and then Afia, please add. The short answer is Friday nights following Araminta will be perfect for that. That is, here is an example of Araminta is Harriet Tubman for those who don't know, and in that program we're going to look at Araminta as a warrior and a healer and a builder. How is it she earned trust from people, black people, who distrusted her? How is it that she did not go into a haughty kind of, oh, you don't trust me, I'm the great Araminta? And so we see how she healed herself. We see how she built and earned trust where there was induced distrust. So I think it'll be that will for those people who will also attend that session. That session is Friday night and it's free. We use her warrior healer builder story to help introduce people to the workshop on Saturday, because the workshop on Saturday is about warrior healer builder tools, and we show them in action with someone that they already love and they already respect, and that is Araminta. And that's one way that we do it.
Okay.
Well, first of all, Sister Robin, I just want you to say that I'm with you. I very often have a similar outcome.
Hmm.
And so the first thing I want to say to you is big ups to you for having the love for our people, the consciousness to keep asking them. And I would just say, keep building that relationship, because as you have the relationship, in my own experience, and I think it's going to happen more and more. And they know you care about Black people, and they know you know something about our struggle and our story, and you also have vision and a sense of belief that we are going to work, that we are working it out. When some issues arise for them, they'll know where to come. You won't have to
I
find
agree.
them. You will know, they'll know where to come, and it can be on simple things like maybe things are going on with their grandchildren or children, or just something in their business, something hits them hard, and there will be a sense of this is as to do with my blackness, and there may be a sense eventually for wanting to be a part of the community. So I think time will make a difference, and just don't give up. And then secondly, I'm with Wekesa. I think inviting them in different ways. Like with an Araminta, I've been able to invite some of my clients to Black Love Day. That doesn't seem like community. That's not a Black conscious thing. It's Black love, and they're able to enter through that door. So I think just keep talking and trusting, and it does make a difference. And part of what we learn in the workshop is for the feeling that we have of sadness, that we would like to have more come and more enter. We can feel that. We can just feel that and be okay with it, and still feel our joy and our peace, that you're doing all you can to keep inviting. I'm doing all that I can, and we are planting seeds for sure that one day will sprout. Ashe.
One concept, I don't know if you can hear me, one concept that we're going to present we'll touch on Friday night and we'll really go into on Saturday is this notion of injected oppression. And this is very helpful in terms of understanding some of our behavior that is against us, against our own culture, against our own community, against our own selves, is about injected oppression. That is how white supremacy has been injected in us, and how that's not really who we are. We're not operating from our authentic selves, and we'll talk about that and talk about how we in the community that wants other people to get involved in more community and conscious and black stuff, how we too have been wounded in that way, and then we can use that kind of self-focus to create a bridge between someone who would not be for it. Okay, if we can, very often people are afraid that they're going to come up short, that they're going to be criticized, that they're not black enough, that they whatever, and it comes off as, oh, forget that black stuff. And many times our self-disclosure about our own growth can provide and benefit, can provide a bridge.
Okay, thank you. Those are great answers. And this is actually my last question since you said keep it short. But I wanted to make sure that the people of Cincinnati understand that you are going to come to Cincinnati and help us build, no, let me rephrase that, give us the tools to be able to build sustainable community organizations and also sustainable black dollar movements, because we've had many, we start them, they start going well, and then you're like, wow, what happened with that? And so I think Cincinnati would really love to know that they would be gaining some of the tools to sustain some of our group economics, some of our community um, involvement that we're in, make them stronger, pull more people in, and also a way that we think about the black dollar movement and how we consciously begin to everyday life work on spending with each other and sharing with each other. And so I know Cincinnati really wants to get some tools to help that. And so I want you to tell us how that's going to, how that will be touched on in the workshop.
George Wekesa.
Okay. Well, one of the ways is we're going to talk about how we've done that in Atlanta community, how we've also done that in Washington, D.C. We've been operating in Atlanta since 1998, 99. We've been operating in D.C. for over a decade, about 12 years, a little bit in Chicago, but most strongly in Atlanta and D.C. And in both cases, we have this work has undergirded strong and consistent economic development work. In Washington, D.C., there is a Isuzu that has been operating for a decade. Imagine that, black people coming together, pooling our monies together for over a decade, okay, consistently meeting, expanding, growing, so much so that the Isuzu has a pot and its members were able to remove their loans from other white businesses and literally take loans out from the Isuzu, and that's just from the pot that's called the Garvey Fund, right? Not from the regular monthly pot, but a special part that's taken off every month, and that had gotten so large that we were able to now pay ourselves the interest. Isn't that powerful? Okay, and so and so when you talk about, we're going to talk about that and how that happened and how they use these tools, how they were important, because what's been implanted in us is that distrust that Afiya talked about and that I talked about, such that the closer we get to success, the more our scare, all right, of white supremacy happens. But it doesn't come out like white supremacy. It comes out like more of scare of what Robin's going to do, or what Wekesa's going to do, or who's going to do that. We also will share how we did that here in Atlanta with our home buying collective called Uhuru. Monies together, families, so that we could buy homes free and clear as the market, this mortgage foreclosure, this mortgage fraud was depressing. It also had houses, $150,000 houses going for $15,000. That happened also in Ohio and all around the country, except for that our people didn't have the financial wherewithal and the banks weren't giving it, so that we could rebound, at least take advantage of some of that. And so we pooled our resources together to do that. In order, see, most times when we come together economically, we come together with the vision, which is good, and the idea and the numbers. What is often missing is that while we come together with that unified vision and mission, I also bring my woundedness. I bring my light skin, dark skin woundedness that I haven't gotten over, that I've been suppressing. I bring my what side of the track I was raised on versus what side of the track you were raised on woundedness. How much disposable income that I think you might have versus what I have woundedness. And those various divisions we've been trained to use those in that S and I fashion, and it creates conflict. So in order for people to participate in this home buying collective, this Isusu, they had to go through our weekend Rich Warrior Healer Builder Retreat. Now on Saturday we're going to give a taste of WHB, okay, but not literally the whole weekend. They had to go through the whole weekend retreat, and then every 3 months had to go through another whole day, so that we would continue to heal ourselves of the distrust in ourselves and distrust among each other that has been planted there by our oppressors. And because of that, I'm so glad to be able to say that everyone in that group had a successful outcome. The outcomes weren't the same, okay? Everyone had a successful outcome, and there is nobody that's distrusting, backbiting, talking, scared, sad, mad about that process. Can you imagine that? I'm not talking about way back when, and I'm not talking about Marcus Garvey. I'm talking about 2010, 2011, 2012. All right, that is right now. Africans from different walks of life, different religious backgrounds, different academic backgrounds, different age backgrounds, coming together and having that kind of success. In addition to the monetary success, having the success where we trusted each other more at the end than at the beginning, because that's the foundation for continuing economic development.
That sounds so exciting. I hope that, I don't know who's all on the call, but I hope that what we have discussed tonight has inspired everybody to come out on Friday night, and also to come out and listen, and also to be inspired by Baba Wekesa and Mama Afiya being able to pick 4 people from the audience to get these scholarships. They're going to be something that I give to you all, and then you decide how you would like to, who you feel would benefit, or, I don't know how to do it, but I just think that it's exciting. I want people to come out.
Will you give them your number so they can call you if they want to call RZL Tax Service, to ask you for those scholarships?
Okay, yes, if you'd like to do that, I would prefer that you all did it, but I can do it.
Oh, no, well, it doesn't matter. You want us to do it, it's so fine. No, we'll do it whichever way you want it.
Yeah, I can handle it, Robin.
Okay, all right.
Okay, you can handle it. Okay. There is a young lady from Cincinnati that actually is a strong supporter of mine, who I have been watching you all on Google, and you've been chatting with her. And so one of those is definitely for her, because she's already involved.
What's her name? I'm not going to say.
Shalea Barnes. Barnes.
Okay.
See, my unfortunate thing is I know people by their government names because of the work that I do. So I'm not exactly sure what her name is outside of my office.
Right, okay.
But,
that sounds familiar.
You all were chatting, and then Thea asked if she was from Cincinnati. And I said, yeah, that's my girl, yeah. So that's just one. People can call me if you're interested in the scholarship, because I got 3 more days to try to get some of my other clients to give some more. My number is area code 513-948-1829, RZL Tax Services. Those in Cincinnati probably already know me, but I'm going to work for the next 2 days and try to get more as I guilt my customers into, you can't attend, but why don't you contribute? And so that strategy has been working. So I just want to encourage people to come on out. I've had the benefit of doing a number of workshops with Afiya and Wekesa, and you will not regret not 1 minute that you're in their presence.
Give your number one more time, Robin, and thank you so much for this. This has been fun.
Okay, it's area code 513-948-1829, RZL Tax Services.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, Robin, for this interview. You've done a great job, and thank you so much for your work to help make this happen. I appreciate you. And shout out to RZL.
All right, and all right, folks. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.